Well, that was kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, I have made a lot of Tinkerer Mask builds that's on my channel. If you want, you can check them out. I do have quite a lot of left on my loadout as well, which obviously tested, recorded, but never made for you guys like live here in YouTube yet. I will do that, which obviously one I'm showing you right now, and it is pretty crazy how it's working. I mean, it's an Umbra initiative gear set, which I'm using. I'm using the Tinkerer Mask, and I'm adding two crazy weapon talents, pairing them together, and it's just quite fun for me. I mean, I don't go chase around the meta. As long as a build is giving me fun, putting that smile on my face, I absolutely love using it like that, and I love sharing with you all so you can get that part of the fun that I am having if you choose to do so, that is. So if you're interested, let me show you this build. Again, it's quite fun, and how it actually working. I do want to talk about the modifiers first because I am using them, but the build does not rely on the modifiers. I'm just going to show the modifiers because people oftentimes ask what modifiers you're using, even though I say that you really don't need modifiers for this build to work. You can use whatever you want, but still they ask. So I'm going to show you as well, just a quick look to the modifiers. But if you want to watch only the build and you're interested on that only, you can go and check it out. There's timestamps, no need to worry about that. So let me just talk about the modifiers first. Well, for the modifiers, well, not much change than the other crit builds that I use or the previous build, which is the ongoing directive build that I made. I oftentimes use the security link because that does help me out a lot because I do play harder content. So it gives me that extra bit of armor and survivability to basically just get out of the way or just take cover, you know, just change position or whatever, something like that. It makes me more tanky, so I use this a lot. If you want, you can go with the assault link for more damage, totally fine. Now for the passive modifier, choose a tier a day because that gives me crazy amount of health. Like you're gonna get 560k plus health for you, which is nice because it activates on any tier, so it's basically always active. For the second one, I choose the safety first, which is going to give us a lot of hazard protection, especially with the active modifiers active, which is the security link. We're gonna get like 85% of hazard protection with this. And for the third one, I use loaded up for that extra bit of damage. So that's basically all my modifiers. Now, as for the weapons, obviously I'm going to use LMG over assault rifles because the talent that I'm using is not available for assault rifle, at least for a high-end assault rifle. Now, I'm using GR9 over here as my main weapon, which I used it most of the time in the harder content like legendary. That's what you're going to be seeing in the legendary clips, the footage that I'm showing you. And when I'm, doing anything heroic related like control points and stuff, most of the time I was actually using Negev as my main weapon is because I felt like this was doing a better job in heroic content because heroic enemies were just dying too fast for me to fully take the advantage of both the talents that I'm using. Legendary was obviously a different case, and that's why I chose the GR9 as my main weapon for the legendary and not the Negev. But you can obviously use this one as well as your main weapon, kind of set and forget, totally fine. The reason why is because Negev already has a higher base damage than GR9 with or without expertise, obviously, so it will always do more damage. And since it has a lower mag size, it actually performs better in my opinion because you can proc both the talents that I'm using here really quickly. However, if you're looking for the higher damage, then you can use the GR9 because of the higher magazine size. Now, why is that? Is because I'm using Frenzy talent, and the more bullets you have in your magazine, the more rate of fire and weapon damage you're gonna get after you reload from empty. So that's basically why I'm using the GR9 as my main weapon in legendary content. But like I said, you could totally use the Negev LMG here, which will do pretty much the same, maybe even better, which I felt it was doing a great job in heroic, like I said. Now, as for the talent on this one, I'm choosing measured because I mean, together they just become crazy with RPM and damage. Like it is a very fun combo, and that's why I'm using this. It's just totally fun. That's like I said, I'm going for that full-on fun and don't care about any metas or anything. I am having a fun time with this, and that's why I am using it right now. Now, if you want to use any other talent like Killer, for example, Strained, yes, you can use that. It's your choice, but this is my choice. I'm gonna stay with it. Like I said, I'm having fun with these two combos, but do keep in mind about those two weapons that I just mentioned. Depends on the content. Use it, see which one you feel comfortable, and then you can choose and make it your primary. So that's basically my weapon, and that's the talents. Now, as for the build, well, obviously the Tinkerer Mask. I mean, do I even have to explain this again after all the Tinkerer Mask build I made? But you know what? I'll still do it for if somebody's watching it first and don't have any idea what it does. Well, as long as your primary and secondary weapon is not an exotic or a named weapon, and they're the same type of weapon, which in this case, both of them are LMGs, my primary and secondary, then you will have your secondary weapon talent transferred into your primary weapon talent. So basically, you will have two talents active for your primary and, secondary talent, both of them active together. And that's what this mask does. So that's why we use it. By the way, we do have a crit chance mod over here on the mask. So that's the Tinkerer Mask. Now, as for the 4-piece of Umbra over here, I am using the chest piece over here. Now, if you don't know what Umbra does, like if you're a new player or returning player or something, well, let me give you a little brief here. Like you do get crit chance 15% for 2-piece, which is nice. You get 30% of reload speed, which is also really nice because we want to reload our LMGs quicker so we can trigger the Frenzy talent, right, as fast as possible. And now with the 4-piece, we do get 2 talents actually. We get the From the Shadows and Into the Light. Now, both of these talent had its own separate kind of description over here. Well, what happens is From the Shadows, that is, when you're in cover, you gain stacks, like 10 stacks per second, up to 50 stacks, which is basically in 5 seconds, you're going to get all the stacks. Now, when you get the stacks, what happens? Well, you get crit damage. Each stack, you get 1.2% of crit damage and also 0.4% of RPM. So that's basically what happens. But when you get out of cover, then you can dish out this damage. You can't just stay in cover, build up the stacks, and then shoot. It won't work. You have to get out of cover and then fire your weapon, and then you're going to be dealing that, RPM and crit damage, basically. Now, as for the second half of it, well, when you're in cover, you regenerate your armor. So if you're out of cover and firing your weapon, which it tells you to do so, you take damage. But when you get in cover, you regenerate your armor. And that's actually a lot of regen, not going to lie. It is quite a lot of regen. So that's basically what it does. Now, since we're using the chest piece, we do get more stacks from 50 to 100, and also the gain from the stacks is increased from 10 to 20. So it still stays 5 seconds. So you're now getting more crit damage and more rate of fire, getting it at the same time, like the same amount of time, which is 5 seconds, like I said. And for the chest piece, I'm using weapon damage, and crit damage mod. For the holster, I actually have armor and crit chance. You can go all red. It's totally fine. With Umbra, all red is absolutely fine because it heals you like crazy, even if it's all red. And since we're using the backpack, it'll heal us even more. So for the knee pads, we have weapon damage and crit damage. And like I said, I'm using the backpack here, which I have weapon damage, and crit damage mod. And the backpack gives you the Into the Light talent, which again increases your stacks from 50 to 100, and the consumption from 10 to 20 means you're going to get crazy amount of healing from this, because that's what it does. The second half of the talent, which is Into the Light, it gives you crazy amount of healing, right? So more stacks means more healing, and that's what it does. It heals you a lot. Like, not gonna lie, it is really, really high healing if you're using the backpack. So you just get in cover with 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, you basically have like 85 to 90% of your armor back, which is really crazy. So that's why I'm choosing it. Now you're gonna say you're using the backpack, so that means you're losing damage because you're not using a damage talent. Well, not really, because I added the damage talent in my gloves. I mean, I'm using a contractor gloves. Since we're using the LMGs as our main weapon, we get 10% of LMG damage, and we also get 8% of damage to armor. So that's basically how I'm getting the damage instead of the backpack, which would have given me a damage. Something like Vigilance will give me 25% of weapon damage, but this together is actually more damage than Vigilance because this damage is not normal weapon damage, it's amplified, so it'll do more damage. So we have that, and obviously LMG damage here as well. So basically we're getting the damage from the gloves instead of from the backpack. Running the set like this, so we get not only damage and healing both at the same time. And obviously, not to mention, we have damage from the talents as well, which is kind of crazy too. So all of this together is working really, really, really well. Now, if I show you my stats here, you can see crit chance is crazy high. That's because of obviously, the modifiers, that is. So that's why we're getting higher crit chance, which we crit pretty much all the time. The crit damage will go crazy high as well, like beyond 250 when you get those stacks going on for your Umbra initiative. So yeah, it will get really, really high, and your RPM will also go really, really high. Like you're gonna have more than 1400, like 13 to 1400 RPM, which is really solid. So yeah, it's insane. Just try it out, this build. It is doing really, really well for me. I had a lot of fun playing it. It was absolutely melting through the enemies, and when it's triggering like that, give it a go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.